right, welcome to the AI Frontiers. I'm Lucian Fogoros. I'll be your host for today. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for the sponsors that made this event possible. I'm dialing in from our offices in Cleveland, Ohio, the heart of U.S. manufacturing. Now, half of U.S. manufacturing base is within a half a day worth of drive, which is a perfect place to host a conversation about the future of AI. The agenda is packed, so I'm not going to go through all of it. I have two asks from you folks is to follow IoT World on social channels and engage. If something inspires you, share with your own community, and please take the survey on IoT World systems and industrial AI. All the speakers are live, and as such, we made a commitment to you that we will answer all their questions. So feel free to post them in the Q&A. To kick off the sessions, we'd like to bring the moderator for today, the co-founders of Swiss Cognitive. So Dalit, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. And I'm super sorry for this inconvenience. The only thing what I can say, it shows us again how dependent we are on technology. Even though I'm in Switzerland with a super robust infrastructure, I'm happy to be back. So also welcome everyone and thank you for being with us today. Huge thank you and hello from Switzerland. Please let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. Now, as I'm not sure I heard everything what you said already with the housekeeping rules, tell me, shall I go through that, Luciano, or shall we get into the introduction directly?
Let's go ahead with the introduction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm happy to be your moderator. I'm Deloitte. I'm the co-founder of Swiss Cognitive, and my passion is AI. Not only that, to me, it's important to empower companies and their employees to understand the power of this technology. Together with me, we have Chris, Jonathan, and Anthony. And I would like you guys to introduce yourself, starting with Jonathan. The stage is yours.
All right, thanks, Dalit. Hi, everyone. Hi from Germany. My name is Dr. Jonathan Spitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Gauss Machine Learning. I have a background in mechanical engineering, PhD in robotics, and I've been founded Gauss ML about 5 years ago to help manufacturers get the most out of their machines. Coming a little bit from my experience during my postdoc, where I started developing a unique small data approach to AI. And then also applying different AI solutions during my time at Bosch, I decided to create Gauss ML to support manufacturers, big and small, to be able to get the most out of their machines with the right process parameters. And we have been already very successful with multiple applications in laser cutting, welding, machining, injection molding. With just a few experiments on the machine, we can help our customers get 15-20% additional productivity.
Thank you very much. Anthony?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Vigliotti. I am the Chief Product Officer at Adlib Software. I'd like to give a little short story about how my career started. We won't go through the entire lineage of my life, but as a youth, I really wanted to become an engineer. Everyone in my family, my relatives said, you're an engineer. So I went to school for engineering. Got my first job at Xerox. What happened was I spent very little time engineering and a lot of time focused on documents, the chaos, the mess, what we did with drawings, how we handled engineering change notices, how we did and inputted our data logs. And what I found out was at this time, there wasn't a lot of technology around document processing, workflow automation, and so on. So while working at Xerox, we had OCR at our disposal, buildings full of multifunction devices that could scan an image. And we set up a little process that would allow us to digitize and automate workflow so that engineers could spend more time engineering and manufacturing could spend more time manufacturing. Ultimately, we got to the point where I said, you know what, maybe this engineering thing isn't right for me. So I put down my mechanical engineering pen and paper, went back to university and got a master's in information technology. And from that day forward, I've been focused on the intersection of how technology can improve business process, and in this example, manufacturing business process. So I then moved to Notable Solutions, Nuanced Document Imaging, Kofax, now Tungsten Automation. And during that entire professional career, I've literally stood at the intersection between improving outcomes for workers, improving their experiences, while driving maximum value out of the documents and data that are locked within. So I currently hold the position of Chief Product Officer at Adlib Software, where I continue that lineage of using AI to improve business outcomes, mostly driving data accuracy and trust. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. And dear Chris, the stage is yours.
All right, appreciate that, Dal. So by way of quick background, I started my career, at least the first couple decades of my career, in the military industrial complex, so very much knee deep in manufacturing. Specifically, I was in the Marine Corps, US Marine Corps. I'm now out of Miami, fully retired, and in my probably third chapter of life. So after the Marine Corps, went to Deloitte Consulting out of DC, ran an automation practice for them. Robotic process automation, conversational AI, and blockchain were the three solutions that I drove to market. One of those vendors was a private equity-owned company called Kofax, now Tungsten Automation, where I was their chief strategy officer, really focused on intelligent automation and workflow. And then took on the CEO role of a small startup company called Base64.ai, really focused on AI document and data automation. And then about 3 months ago, was recruited into Adlib as the CEO. So Adlib is, as Anthony started to touch on, is a software company. We focus basically on being the accuracy authority in AI-driven document automation for highly regulated industries, which definitely covers manufacturing, energy, life sciences, many of the industries that are presented and covered on this webinar. So what I would like to do is spend a few minutes up front just setting the stage for what I think is going to be a phenomenal panel, really focused on building data accuracy and AI trust in smart manufacturing. So I think this is not just timely, but it's essential because, as I think all of us are feeling and we're starting to see, the investment and the excitement is high, but the real transformation hinges on data that you can trust, which is what the team here wants to focus on. So I'm going to jump in, and I promise you this is not, death by PowerPoint. I hope these are a few studies that you will find interesting and that you can actually start to use to help you advance your agenda. I know a lot of the agendas in order to be advanced depend on strong data points and perspectives. So I hope that that's what you're going to get out of this. But again, 5 minutes here, but I'm going to use these two studies. Each, again, should provide some quantitative data to support the decisions that you're likely making, but also challenge conventional wisdom. First is Deloitte's, and I'm a little biased, obviously, coming from Deloitte, but Deloitte's 2025 Smart Manufacturing Survey. This will really quantify what's truly at scale on factory floors. And then we have MIT study. This is making its rounds right now, but the 2025 State of AI in Business. And this is really going to get to why most GenAI, generative AI pilots are missing deliverable on the bottom line. So it's not having the bottom line impact that many had thought it would, at least at this point. And we'll get into the why. But I think together they paint a very vivid picture on the state of adoption and the barriers to realizing value. We'll start with the MIT study. It looked at a few hundred publicly traded companies that are deploying GenAI. It found that 95% of enterprise GenAI initiatives show no measurable P&L, profit and loss impact, with only 5% of task-specific tools reaching production. Now, that's clickbait in and of itself, but you need to be mindful that they pulled this data by sifting through public company S1s, quarterly earnings reports, 10Ks, various other SEC filings. If it was noted in those documents that a company was, one, investing in GenAI, but two, nothing was noted on ROI, then they considered it no measurable impact. So you can obviously start to see that this could just be a timing thing, not necessarily they ran the full project, the experiment, and ended with zero ROI. So it could just be that the project simply hasn't delivered the intended impact yet. But I think it's important that at this point in the cycle, adoption, again, is high. Transformational impact is low. What was also interesting as you dive into this report is it's very explicitly stated that external partnerships are successfully deployed twice as often as internal builds, suggesting, as most of us hypothesize, that collaboration is a faster path to scale with newer technologies. But there's another reality that's starting to set in, and we all are very aware of this, and that's the same concept as shadow IT, but now we're seeing it in shadow AI. In the study, it points out that nearly 90% of employees use large language models personally, compared to just 40% of companies with official subscriptions. That means, so that delta, that means that your workforce may already be ahead of your enterprise AI strategy, and that creates both risks and opportunities. Harnessing that energy responsibly, I believe, is an onus that we as leaders have. It's a leadership imperative. So the workforce is more ready for AI than many of us give them credit for. So if you look into the report a little bit more, you can really dig in and you begin to get to why GenAI pilots are failing. And the top reasons aren't surprising because we've been through this, especially those on this webinar, much like me, have a little bit of gray hair or not as much hair. It's change management. It's lack of executive sponsorship. It's poor user experience and output quality concerns. But as we just covered, employees are already using cutting edge consumer AI tools every day. So their expectations for enterprise AI are very high. The days of handing employees static, clunky tools isn't going to cut it. So to scale AI, we have to deliver both accuracy and usability at the enterprise level. So that's the MIT study. There is a lot in there. What I want to do now is pull it down to more AI in manufacturing and where we are. And Deloitte's survey really gets to the smart manufacturing of 2025. And essentially, despite challenges, this survey found that the commitment is undeniable. 78% of manufacturers are allocating more than 20% of their improvement spend to smart manufacturing. And even more telling, 75% of those budgets will further increase. 0%, so 0 respondents expect a decrease. So again, we are early in this cycle. A lot of these projects need time to deliver ROI, but nobody is getting impatient because this is largely a top-down meeting with a bottom-up need mandate. So the investments are flowing. The question is whether we can channel it into initiatives that deliver those measurable outcomes. So looking ahead, last slide, looking ahead, Deloitte's survey provides really strong data that manufacturers are prioritizing investments in automation and data, which is why this panel is extremely relevant, factory hardware, analytics, scheduling, quality management, and sensors. These are the foundations for AI. Until we have accurate connected data, AI outcomes simply will not be trusted. So the bottom line is, I believe we're witnessing the paradox of our time. And I've been through a few of these. I think this is like the third step change in tech that I've been through. I think the massive investment in AI and smart manufacturing, but limited measurable transformation to date is driving sort of this need for collaboration to get to the ROI. The common thread in both reports, though, is to scale from experimental to scaled AI requires accurate, contextual, and trustworthy data, and that's what we're here to talk about. Dalith, I'll send it back to you to facilitate what I'm certain is going to be a great panel.